Today is Sunday, April 25th of 2021. My name is Elisa. I'm interviewing Mario Mungia for the South Texas Archives at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. This is part of the Voices of a Pandemic oral project in partnership with the Voices Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Please know, Mr. Mungia, that this recorded interview will be placed in the South Texas Archives at Texas A&M University, Kingsville, and shared with the Voices Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. If there's anything you do not wish to answer or talk about, especially given that your recording may appear online, I will honor your wishes. Also, if there's something you want to talk about, please bring it up and we'll talk about it. Because we are not conducting this interview in person, I need to record you consenting. So I'll ask you a series of 6 questions. Please say, yes, I agree, or no, I do not agree after each one. There are 4 questions we need to make sure you agree to before we go on. South Texas Archives at Texas A&M University, Kingsville wishes to archive your interview along with any other photographs and other documentation at the South Texas Archives at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. We will retain copyright of the interview and any other materials you donate to the South Texas Archives at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. Okay, you with me so far? Okay.
Got it.
Number 1, do you agree to do you give us consent to archive your interview and your materials at the Jernigan Library at Texas A&M University, Kingsville?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Do you grant South Texas Archives at the Jernigan Library at Texas A&M University, Kingsville copyright over the interview and any material you provide?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Do you agree to allow South Texas Archives at the Jernigan Library at Texas A&M University, Kingsville to post this interview on the internet where it may be viewed by people around the world?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Do you grant South Texas Archives at the Jernigan Library at Texas A&M University, Kingsville consent to share your interview and your materials with the Voices Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin for inclusion in the Voices of a Pandemic Oral History Project, which will include posting the interview on the internet?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. We have many questions in a pre-interview form that we have already filled out. We use that information from the pre-interview form to help us in research. The entire form is kept in a secure Voices server at the University of Texas at Austin. The final storing of the pre-interview form will be at the South Texas Archives at the Jernigan Library at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. We will have stripped out any contact information for yourself or family members so that will not be part of your public file. Your public file will only be accessible at the Jernigan Library. Okay. So do you wish for us to share the rest of your interview and your public file available to researchers at the South Texas Archives at the Jernigan Library at Texas A&M University, Kingsville?
Yes.
Okay. On occasion, Voices receives requests from journalists who wish to contact our interview subjects. We only deal with legitimate news outlets. Do you give consent for us to share your phone numbers or your email with journalists?
Yes.
Okay. And that was the preamble. So now we'll go ahead and start the interview. Okay. So my first question for you is, tell me a little bit about your experience with COVID-19.
My experience, I didn't get it. I know people who got it. My mom got it and my cousin got it. And I didn't get it, but it affected me because I had just gotten a brand new job that I was excited about. And I worked there for 2 weeks and then I got laid off because of COVID and stuff. So my experience with it wasn't too good. I don't think anybody's was, but whatever.
Okay. And how did you first learn about COVID? Did you learn about it from the radio, TV, children, your job?
From TV, watching sports, and people were talking about it. And then one day the NBA was canceled and everything was canceled. And then it blew up after that.
Okay. What was your initial reaction to the information about COVID-19? Did you think it was really serious or did you kind of just not understand what was going on?
No, I didn't think it was too serious. I thought people were overreacting, but then people started dying and it got crazy.
I remember all that with the water. Whenever you would go to the store and you couldn't find any of the waters.
Yeah, that and toilet paper. Well, that
I did forget about the toilet paper. Okay, so how has COVID-19 impacted you?
Like I said, lost my job, brand new job. I was there for 2 weeks. I went through orientation that lasted a week. And then the next week after orientation, I got sent home for a week because someone in my orientation had COVID, or they thought they had COVID. Came back the next week, worked for a week, and then got laid off. So I was there for technically 3 weeks, but only 2 weeks.
And do you know how it's affected some of your family members?
My dad got laid off. My uncle got laid off. My dad got laid off from a company that he was with since I was 1 year old. He worked there since I was 1, and he got laid off. My uncle got laid off. My mom got COVID. My cousin got COVID. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. How is it going out into the world during COVID-19 different than pre-COVID-19?
A lot of precautions. Even now, after a year, just today, when I went out, I had to get my temperature checked and wear a mask and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, it is crazy how now mask is a part of something you grab on the way out of the door.
Yeah.
So how has COVID impacted your ability to gather with family and friends for important events?
With friends, that hasn't really impacted it. They'll get together no matter what. But like with family, I have a great grandma who's 88, and I went a couple months without going to see her. My grandparents too; they're in their 60s, so I went a while without seeing them too because I didn't want to pass it on to them if I was asymptomatic or something.
Has your family changed what you take with you when you leave home?
Has my family changed it?
Well, I guess just in general, like you, maybe the question, I should have phrased it different. Have you changed anything about what you take with you when you leave the house now? I know we talked about masks, but is there anything else? Basically just a mask.
Yeah, just masks. It's like having a mask is like having your phone and having your keys and your wallet. It's like you have to have it
anywhere without it. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the next question was, how about wearing masks? So how do you feel about wearing a mask? I know a lot
I like
of
it.
Oh, you
I
do
like
like
it actually. I do
I know
enjoy
some
it.
people complain because you know it's hot or you feel like you can't breathe.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that, but other times you can put it on, get in and out of the store without. Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice too because, well, I guess with girls you wouldn't have to do your makeup and stuff. You don't really have to worry about that, but I get what you mean. Has COVID-19 changed the way you, your children, or your community receive education?
Yeah, my little brother was on Zoom for, I think, well, he's not still on Zoom, but if someone were to get COVID at the school, then they go back to Zoom and back and forth and all kinds of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the schools are doing the virtual learning and stuff, or
On
the
Zoom?
graduations that had to be postponed. That's crazy. What challenges do your children face as they move to, oh, well, you don't have any kids, sorry. Okay, so how, if at all, have schools helped your community during COVID-19? Have any schools like distributed food in your area or provided students with accommodations?
Yeah, they were like helping kids who didn't have Wi-Fi. You know, they would let them, I don't know what they were doing. I guess they were giving them like hotspots or something and letting them do that. And then I guess the school gives out free lunch. So they were still doing that where you could like come and pick up the free lunch. And I know like in the small town that my brother goes to school at, they're like, it's such a small town, they were delivering the food to the houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I know during the water crisis, or well, during the freeze, some of the schools were giving out water and stuff, or like offering shelter to people who didn't have it.
Yeah.
Has your own education been disrupted as a result of COVID-19?
No. I mean, no, it hasn't.
What kind of concerns or questions about healthcare have emerged as a result of COVID? Like, has it changed the way that you're doing or getting healthcare? I know that some people have been doing the virtual visits with their doctor, and then like they kind of assess where everything is, or like waiting in your car until they call you down. I know some of that has happened.
Yeah, I haven't gone to the doctor, so I wouldn't know. I should probably go to the doctor and I'd find out.
So have you had any mental health impacts or challenges since COVID?
Yeah, when I got laid off, because what are you gonna do to pay the bills and all kinds of stuff, and being on unemployment and not knowing when everything's gonna end and when things are gonna go back to normal and stuff like that, it's kind of takes a toll on
I know during isolation people were really depressed and down, and I can see where being unemployed would add to that problem. So have you registered to get your vaccine?
I have not.
Okay. Do you plan on getting the first one or the second one?
As of right now, no. I mean, I thought about it, and then they had the Johnson and Johnson recall, and then now Pfizer is saying you have to get 3 instead of 2, and I don't know. It seems like they haven't figured it out yet, and it's kind of
so you're planning
rolling the dice.
That's
yeah.
So how, if at all, have the organizations you are a part of provided resources regarding COVID-19, like the church or the school board, or, well, I know you're not in school, but like your church, have they done anything to help?
Mm, not that I know of. I don't know if it was like I know a lot of places were giving the free COVID test, but I don't know if that's like a government thing or what. But that seems pretty cool. I got a couple free tests.
Yeah, I
That I
feel
didn't
like
have.
it's a resource because I mean they don't have to be a spot for it. They can't force them. So
Yeah.
so on to politics. How do you believe politics affected how COVID has been handled?
Mm, I don't know. I think it has a, you know, like it's crazy. The presidential election happened at the same time, and one candidate didn't felt like people were overreacting. One candidate felt like you had to have double masks and gloves on, and so I don't know. It just all depends on how you see it. I guess if you're around, like I was around people who didn't. I mean, I know people who died from it, but if you're not around people who have it or died from it, to you, it doesn't seem like a big deal.
Yeah.
But to someone who has a family member that died, it seems like a big deal. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely, I feel like it affected people in a different way. And then like you said, the presidential I guess it would be candidacy or campaign. I think that was a big deciding factor for a lot of things because like we had one president who was like making a joke of it. Like
Yeah.
when people's family died and stuff, that was like a big deal for them.
And then you have one who's like um for free healthcare, one who's not for free healthcare.
Yes.
And free healthcare sounds like a good deal when you have COVID. So
Well, because I know people were having to pay for the test, which was kind of crazy in my opinion because we wanted everybody to get tested, but then they didn't want to offer like free tests for everybody. I mean, I know now they do, or for the most part they do. So that was kind of crazy to me that you could like want to charge somebody, but you want them to get tested, like
yeah, but then like
make it for free.
someone that's on a ventilator and stuff like that, their family has to figure out how they have to pay for it if they don't have insurance.
Exactly.
And kinds of
Exactly. And
stuff.
that's
And
something
then
you
someone
don't
like
have to say about.
and then someone like me who got laid off, I don't have insurance, and if I would have gotten it, who knows what would have happened.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like politics did play a big role because and the last president, like instead of not like calming things down, but instead of like consoling people or like trying to like I feel like he was just adding fuel to the fire by acting he did on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of the same thing with the checks. He didn't really
Yeah.
want to give anybody any relief.
Mm-hmm.
So work related challenges, I know we did talk about this already, but is there anything else you want to add on how COVID has impacted your work? I know you said you lost work, but did you receive any pay cuts or were you furloughed? I know you were laid off, you mentioned.
Yeah, I got laid off and then was on unemployment, and then I got a new job, and COVID hasn't really affected that job. It only affects to when you go to some places and you have to wear a mask and stuff, but other than that, it doesn't affect like the quality of work or the quantity of work.
Mm-hmm.
You still get as much as you can.
And unemployment, can you like elaborate on that? How did you even did you have to apply for it? Did we lose you? Mario? Can you repeat that? We lost you for a second.
Oh yeah. To apply for it like in the middle of the night because so many people were on the website trying to get unemployment. So many people were getting laid off at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I was on unemployment for like from April all the way until the beginning of November. So yeah, I had to apply for it and stuff like that. And they had they were adding like I think 600 a week or every 2 weeks or something like that. And then they started to cut it off, and then it was time to figure out if I was gonna get another job, where I was gonna go, stuff like that.
Has the nature of finding work changed? I know you said you did find a new job and it hasn't really, but was it hard to find that job?
Not really. I had
employment.
Not really. I knew somebody that knew somebody, so that's kind of how I got the job.
Networking. So do you have any concerns about your finances? I know that you already spoke about how you previously had any, but do you still have any? I know COVID hasn't gone anywhere, so.
As of right now, no. I did, like you said, I did whenever I wasn't employed, but
yeah.
As of right now, everything seems to be
Getting back to
heading
normal?
towards getting normal, kind of. So.
Well, that's good. So how has COVID impacted your ability to financially contribute to your family? Again, I know you did speak on how you were on unemployment and everything. Did the extra money help you in any way? Was that helpful?
Yeah, it was helpful actually, and then so were the stimulus checks and stuff like that. It seems like they came when I
Offer some
needed them,
relief.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Has your work changed?
Nah, not really. I drive trucks, so
You were doing
you're
that
most
before, and
you're mostly by yourself
Mhm.
for the day, so nah, it hasn't really affected that.
Okay. How, if at all, have this current social movements in conjunction with COVID-19 impacted your daily life?
Mm, not really much, like I said.
How can I say? I know you mentioned that you still hang out with your friends and stuff. So, have
Yeah.
your perspectives on going out changed any, or do you still go out and do stuff?
It did at first, but I don't know. I noticed I would still go places like out of necessity, like Walmart and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
there was people spilling out the door, so didn't
Yeah,
seem.
I feel like if you wear your mask, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, what can you do? I know
Mhm.
some people were more affected by it, and I feel like if you have underlying issues or you're older or you have somebody who's older, then it is kind of selfish for you to go out. But if it's just you, then I guess, I mean, what can you do?
Mhm.
So have you participated in any protests recently or in the past year? I know there's been protests.
I did actually went to the Black Lives Matter protest in Corpus. It was at City Hall,
Hmm.
and there was a protest there that I attended.
How was that?
I don't know, it was kind of crazy. Like you feel like
Empowered?
that, and you feel like you're a part of history. Like you feel like someday, like my kids are gonna hear about that. Be like, yo, I was there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was. It felt like, yeah, it just felt like you were living in a historic moment that like was just happening in front of you. It was crazy.
That is interesting. So that was one of the only protests you went to, or did you go to any others?
Nah, that was the only one I went to.
Okay. Was that kind of early in COVID or was it recent?
That was, I guess it was kind of early in COVID or early in the shutdown, kind of.
Were people wearing masks or it wasn't to that point yet?
Yeah, everybody was wearing masks, and
Oh, okay.
it was crazy.
So how do you feel like the Latin, no, I guess it wouldn't be the Latin. Would it be the Latin community? I don't want to speak out of term. Has been affected by COVID? Have they do you feel like they've been affected more? Because I know they were saying that COVID-19 in the beginning was affecting more the Black community than it was any other
Mm-hmm.
race. Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like because I know that you're Mexican, do you feel like it has affected that community more or in any different kind of way?
I don't know if it's affected my community more. I mean, where I live is nothing but Mexican people, so I don't know how it would affect us more compared to a different race and stuff like that, because I don't know how they were going through. I know, like you said, the Black community was affected by it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy.
I read this article. Well, we had to read this article for this class actually. And it was about like farm workers in California, and they were making them work like you can't be 6 feet apart when you work like that. And they were just like not complaining, but they were talking about the poor work conditions and like how. Well, I guess you would know the feeling of what I'm about to say next because you were the same way when you were on unemployment. These Mexican factory workers were talking about how like they were more worried about their check than they were about getting COVID and getting sick. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about. Like, um, a lot of minorities are the ones that are in the war zone of COVID in the hospital. They're the ones that clean the hospital. They're usually the ones that,
Yes.
stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure they were affected by it. I don't know anybody personally that was, but I could imagine.
Mm-hmm. And then how did you feel about like all the essential workers? Because I know that was never a term before COVID. Nobody was really essential. And then now all of
Yeah,
a sudden we have all these essential workers.
yeah, it's crazy. To me, an essential worker was somebody like a doctor, a nurse, nurses assistants, physicians, stuff like that. But even when that job that I had for 2 weeks, after the first week, they gave us a bunch of like, I guess, like permission slips that said we were essential workers, and we were oil field workers. So, I mean, I guess so, but yeah, it's crazy how you realize what's essential and what's not essential and stuff like that. But
Yeah, it gave
to me,
go on, sorry.
to me, jobs are essential, period. Like, someone might have a job that isn't essential to the government, but is essential to them because it's what pays the bills and stuff like that. So it's crazy.
I never thought about it from that perspective. I was thinking more like how a 16-year-old basket pusher at HEB can be an essential worker because you need to go to the grocery store, right? And then think about if there was any baskets, like you wouldn't be able to get what you needed. And it's like you said, like you always think about like the big jobs, like nurses and doctors and like, people like that who are like really essential. But I never thought about how every job is essential.
Yeah,
because you needed to get paid.
Yeah, even fast food workers are essential workers when like.
Yeah.
They really are. It's crazy.
I know there was some power outages like during the freeze, and everybody was trying to go get food from, because you couldn't cook at home, and everybody was trying to get food from the fast food places. And I know people like this is going off topic, but the minimum wage, how they were trying to say that it shouldn't be raised, and then it like makes you wonder, because like here you are running to these places where these people who you deem non-essential, when in fact they are essential. But it's like you said, every job is essential to you because that pays your bills. I never thought about it like. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add or share with me about your experiences with COVID-19 that I have not asked?
Nah, that's pretty much it. Just being laid off was the only thing that really affected me. I didn't have nobody close to me or family members, and nobody passed away or anything like that, thank God. But that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have to ask you any post-interview questions. So I'm going to say thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me interview you. And I'm glad COVID didn't affect you that much. So have a nice Sunday. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.